Aloha everyone and welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started here shortly, so feel free to kick back, relax, and we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. Aloha everyone, welcome. If you are just joining us, we will go ahead and get started shortly. If you guys have any questions that you can think of while you're waiting, feel free to go ahead and put them in that Q&A button that you'll see at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Yeah, for now, go ahead, kick back, relax, and we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Hello everyone, welcome. If you're just joining us, we'll go ahead and get started here in just a couple minutes. So feel free to go ahead, kick back, relax. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to go ahead and put those in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Get started in just a moment. Right. Aloha everyone and welcome. We're so excited to be able to speak with you virtually. And we appreciate you all taking the time out of I'm sure your very busy days to join us to learn more about UH Manoa and of course the upcoming year and ho'omaka'i. Congratulations to all of your students. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put those in that Q&A section. I see we've got some great questions coming in already, so it's very exciting. On the screen, you guys will see this is a webinar style where you all can see us. However, we cannot see you all. So definitely just be sure to keep that in mind. If you have, of course, questions, like I said, go ahead and put those into the Q&A. And just so you all know, this is being recorded and we will put this on our YouTube channel later on. So definitely if you have questions that you're like, wait, what did they say about this? Feel free to go ahead and check that YouTube video. We'll also send an email to you all at the end as well. So you can go ahead and check that out. Also, we are transcribing this as well. So definitely feel free to go ahead and pull that up if you have any accessibility needs. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Ryan and Abby to introduce themselves.
Aloha, my name is Ryan Yamaguchi. I am the Interim Assistant Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management and the Director of Admissions. So happy to be able to speak to you today. Hopefully can answer your questions. And I'm glad that all of you have attended this session today. I would like to introduce the next person of our panel that's going to be happy. Oh, actually, I'll give you a little bit of background about myself as well too. I've been here at the university this is now my 20th year that I'm here at the university. And I'm a twice graduate of the institution for my bachelor's and master's. And so I do bleed green and I am a proud University of Hawai'i Manoa graduate. So next I will hand it over to Abigail Hulikengo Hergol.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abigail Huligenga-Hergo. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions. Really excited to talk with you all today regarding your admissions-related questions in this webinar series that we have.
Great. Thank you both so much. And so just to formally introduce myself, my name is Amber Owens. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at the University of Hawai'i at Manoa. I help out with the territories of California, some states, and WUI, as well as the Midwest. Of course, we have a great team of admissions counselors who are always ready to help answer any questions you may have. Speaking of that, you're probably wondering what happens next in this session? What are we here to talk about? Well, of course, we are here to talk with you all about those next steps, as well as what the fall 2021 timeline looks like. What are the next upcoming deadlines? When is the first day of school? We'll go over that new Warrior checklist that you all have received via email. We'll touch bases on when students will start to hear back about scholarships and financial aid. We'll also touch a little bit on housing now that the application is available. And also we'll let you know approximately the timeline of when course registration will occur, and also how students will get assistance when planning for that. So you guys are maybe wondering, okay, well, what if I don't get my exact question answered? Is there a way I can connect with you later on? There absolutely is. So you guys can always connect with us via email at our manoa.admissions@hawaii.edu email. We also do have a virtual front desk for admissions, financial aid, and our registrar's office. Our virtual front desk for admissions is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So definitely, if you have questions where you kind of want a more immediate response, stop by our virtual front desk. We have our admissions team is super happy and excited to meet with you. We also do offer one-on-one appointments with our admissions counselors. And of course, we do have excellent Warrior webinars, just like what you are attending right now. We have one every single Wednesday with different topics each week. So next week, our topic is going to be about choosing a major. If your student, for example, is exploratory or undecided, we'll help meet with our Manoa Advising Center to go over different options for them. We also do have our accepted student receptions coming up soon, so definitely check out that upcoming events link in the chat. And of course, you guys can always follow us on social media. At the end of the presentation today, I'll talk with you, give you an option about how to connect with us on social media, especially our channels specifically for parents. So kind of going into more about that new Warrior checklist. I'm sure you guys have received the email by now, but if not, I can definitely check out our link for that as well. Just kind of touching base on it is you'll need to create your student will need to create your MyUH account, make sure they apply for financial aid or scholarships, or FAFSA if they haven't already, submit their intent to enroll, submit their final documents, pay for tuition. I know it can definitely seem overwhelming at first. You're like, wow, that's so many steps, but don't worry, we'll break it down a little bit for you and it's not that bad. So kind of looking at the general timeline is right now we're about to go into March. We're just about a week away from it. And our financial aid packages will start to become available in then. Also, you won't have to worry about any bid deadlines until May 1st. May 1st is going to be our intent to enroll and student housing priority deadline. So if you're wondering, okay, when do we have to officially give you a decision by? We will recommend for all students to let us know, try to let us know by May 1st. That way we can make sure you can have proper time to apply for student housing and also apply, get your deposit down so you can register for classes. Registering for classes does take place for new incoming students during the last week of May. So definitely be sure to keep checking your STAR GPS online system. We'll give more information about that later. But just keep a note that it will be the last week of May for beginning on our course registration for incoming students. Our health clearance deadline will be upcoming on July 15th. If you have questions about that, definitely contact our student health center. They'll be they'll be happy to answer those questions about the certain, if they need the TB test, the MMR, exactly what they need for that will all the information is available on their website. The tuition deadline is going to be on August 19th. We do have options if students, want to sign up for payment plans. And also our first day of school is going to be August 23rd. So we're very excited for that. And we expect that the student housing move-in will most likely be the week before school starts. So that's something you can kind of keep in mind for that. Now, I know a big question is, how are you communicating with my student? How do I view my financial aid? Where do my students go to register for classes? How do they get an on-campus job? How do we even pay for school? Where do we go for that? So that all can be accessed on your MyUH account. So if your student hasn't already, I strongly encourage them to go online, go ahead and create their Hawai'i.edu email. That is actually how our financial aid will be in touch with the students, is that email address. I personally have my Hawai'i.edu email on my phone. So if your student has a smartphone, definitely tell them to go ahead and put it on their phones. It is technically part of Gmail, so they can easily access it from both iPhones and Androids. Also, that's how they'll be able to register for classes, is on our STAR GPS system. They'll be able to communicate with their professors, apply for jobs, and all of that is going to be on that one main platform. So definitely make sure that they go ahead and go online and register for their account. So I know the big question is, when are the new Warrior decisions? When are those coming out? We applied January 15th. We haven't heard back yet. Well, good news is that our decisions are going to start going out early next month. So students definitely will need to keep checking their Hawai'i.edu email to see their notification. The decisions will start in early March, and they can go all the way up until May. So we'll definitely be sure to let you know as soon as possible. For our financial aid packages, it'll be the same thing, where the financial aid packages will start becoming available in early March. The way they kind of process it is on a first come, first serve. So the students who applied earlier, got accepted earlier, will most likely hear back about their financial aid packages sooner. So if all of a sudden it's March 1st, you haven't heard about the financial aid package yet, please do not stress in any way. It is coming for your student. Definitely just tell them to keep checking that email. We know that students don't really like email today. They're all on, other platforms, but definitely tell them to keep going back old school like we are. And definitely, if you have questions about financial aid or have a specific situation, really we encourage you to stop by the financial aid virtual front desk that is available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hawai'i Standard Time, with the exceptions of Wednesdays. So as much as us admissions counselors would love to be able to give you more information on the exact financial aid package, financial aid will be the ones. They know all the up-to-date information on that. Now I know, and another really important thing is, where will my student be living? Is it safe? Can I trust them going, 3,000 plus miles away? Or even for our local parents, is it going to be better for them to avoid fighting traffic in the morning? I used to live in Eva, so I know that traffic very well. So our housing applications just became available last week. We're super excited that it is officially launched. So if your student has already decided, they're like, yes, Manoa is the one for me, I'm definitely going. Once they go ahead and put that down their deposit for Manoa, they can go ahead and fill out the student housing application. Something important to note is that it's not one of those that you have to apply immediately or else. Basically, you're just going to want to make sure whatever you do is to apply by May 1st. That is going to be the housing priority deadline. So any students who apply by that date will get priority. So definitely make sure to have those decisions made by that time if you're looking to do housing. Over summer is when the assignments will officially be announced. So definitely stay tuned for that. Have the student, of course, check that Hawai'i.edu email. And then for selecting your meal plans, that will tend to be late summer. Most of the students will automatically be entered into a 10 meal per week plan if they do not have one of the apartment type style kitchens. Basically, if they don't officially have a kitchen in their residence hall, they're going to be required to have some kind of meal plan. We really want to ensure that your students are truly eating, especially if they're going far away. We will make sure they are taken care of. We'll make sure they're fed. So definitely, if you want to upgrade or downgrade it, you will have that time later on in the summer. And then also students do have the first 2 weeks of school as well to go ahead and modify that meal plan. So say if they signed up for the 14 meals per week and then they're realizing they're only using between 9 and 10 meals per week, they may want to downgrade it in that first 2 week period. So definitely just let your student know that it's not set in stone. They have time to modify that as need be later on. And like I mentioned earlier, we expect the move-in dates to be the week before school starts. So that week before August 23rd. We don't know the exact dates just yet. More announcements will be coming more towards summer once they have more finalized plans with that. For course registration, I know we get a lot of questions about what classes do I need? How do I even know where to begin? I'm lost, help. What if I want to change my major? Those are all really great questions. So if you are looking to get advice on what classes to take for fall 2021, you're going to want to meet with an academic advisor. They are excellent for being able to help talk with you about the major itself, what general education credits you'll need, what classes you should be taking, which ones are realistic to be taking this first semester. They'll also help to let you know if you'll need a placement exam or not. The placement exams that we do offer are for math, chemistry, and language. So families, I know this is a big thing with students, at least last year, where students are like, oh, I'll take it later, I'll take it later. And then all of a sudden over summer, they're like trying to register for classes and they're like, oh, it won't allow me to register for this class. Why? So they don't have to worry about the placement exams just yet. They'll more so take a look at that closer to that April, May time period. But just keep it on their radar that if they are, anything in the STEM field, they most likely will need one of these placement exams. But definitely just make sure to talk to the academic advisor to confirm exactly if they will need these placement exams or not, because each student's situation is a little bit unique. If your student is a transfer student and they are transferring any classes from another university, the academic advisors can also assist with that. Once the student is accepted, which obviously you all know by now, make sure that as a transfer student, they are sending in their official transcripts because we will need that to go ahead and evaluate that transfer credit evaluation. So definitely keep that in mind. Other things to think about is the fact that there are two different ways to register for classes. You can either do it the manual way through our STAR GPS system. Our STAR GPS system is a great system that allows the student to go in. It already has their student information listed there, and it'll give them approximately what classes that the advisor will recommend them to take. Just note that it is just a guideline. It's not a strict, this is what you have to take or else kind of thing. So for example, it'll show, oh, they recommend you taking a math class, English class, and then you get to choose your elective or something of the sort. So you can choose to go ahead and select your classes manually and register that, after that May 24th date. Or you can have the option, if you're an incoming freshman, to be a part of our ACE or Access to College Excellence, which is part of our first year programs. What those are, it's major specific learning community clusters instead of doing a class by class standard or class by class registration. So for example, if you are biology and you just need to take the standard biology classes, you can look up this community, see what classes they offer, and then enroll in the community where you will be with 19 other students approximately, give or take, not sure how they're doing it this size this year, is you'll be with those students and you'll be taking all of the same classes. That makes it really nice for students who really don't know anyone going to the university to kind of have that community, within their classes, that they can study with the students, get to know other students with similar interests, as well as they do have a once a week seminar where they'll go ahead and meet with an ACE peer mentor who is going to be an upperclassman who will kind of help guide them, make sure to go over study tips, make sure they're all doing well in their classes. And also sometimes they try to take them on, different excursions, depending, of course, what the state regulations are at that time. If you guys have any questions about, registering for classes or more information about these ACE first year programs, definitely be sure to stop by our Warrior webinar coming up on April 14th for assistance on registering for classes and more information about that. We'll definitely have our academic advisors available from our Manoa Advising Center who will be able to assist with that course registration checklist. Now, I know so many of the parents, you guys are getting really excited to go ahead and start talking with other parents, finding ways to connect, especially in this virtual world. So I highly encourage you guys, if you haven't already, to follow us on Facebook at the UHM Amazing Ohana. It's a really great resource where we'll go ahead and post any different announcements and such that are going on. We'll keep you up to date with all the upcoming events. And then, of course, it's a great way to meet other students or other parents of accepted students as well, to be able to have a safe space to go ahead and ask what questions you have as well. They also do have other unofficial parent groups for UHM or for our university, so you can check out those as well. But UHM Amazing Ohana is going to be our official Facebook page, so definitely be sure to go ahead and like that page for all the updates. Now, I know you guys have been asking a lot of great questions. We've already gotten over 100 questions that have come in just now. So we're going to go ahead and transition into a Q&A portion. Just some reminders, we do have, of course, our other departments that are listed on the screen. If you do need to contact them, we're going to be answering as many admissions type related questions as we can. We'll try to answer a few of the other questions, but really, if you have specific questions for academic advising, financial aid, or student housing, we really encourage for you to reach out to those departments directly, especially at our upcoming events. Our first one, of course, on March 6th. But we'll go ahead and take it. Basically, we're going to take each questions by different topics. So even if you submitted your question early, we'll get to it at some point, but just so you know, we're going to go ahead and take each section by topic. Right, so we've got so many great questions. It's so exciting. Let's go and see. All right, so I see a great question that kind of asks with the next steps that says, besides our deposit on the new Warrior checklist, what else should we have done by now to secure a spot at the University of Hawaii at Manoa? So I'm going to take this one. Is the biggest thing that you need to do besides submitting your deposit when you're ready is to make sure that if you do qualify for FAFSA, to go ahead and make sure that that is submitted to us. Of course, you can always check with our financial aid department if you have any questions about that. So Ryan, I see great questions about our health clearance. So do U.S. residents also need to provide a negative TB test to enroll?
Thanks, Amber. To answer this one, I think I see a lot of questions also about COVID-19 and parents are interested in looking at what does the campus look like and what are we going to look like for fall semester. And I think that kind of helps along with the questions that you're asking on the health clearances and so forth. So at the university, we are working towards to have our students on campus. We want to get to that point. However, with that said, that future is still a little foggy for us. We're not completely 100% sure what that will look like. Their administration meets on a weekly basis in order to determine and look at what the guidelines are going to be put out by the state and what we can follow here at the institution. We are working towards that point where we do want to have our students return to campus and to join us here on the university campus. Some of the things that we've put into place for COVID this past year that we've learned and we've continued on are safety and training protocols for faculty and staff to create a safe environment for our students. We do have a check-in app. So for those students that do have in-person classes and are required to be here on campus, there is an app that we do have that students do sign up for. We have also mandated face coverings for students, for all our students, faculty, and staff. And it is something that we do see on campus, and the individuals here have adhered to that. And I know that things change. For many of you, if you're not from the state of Hawaii, and if you've been watching the news here, if you have been from the state of Hawaii, there may be some new changes that are going to be coming down to us as soon as tomorrow from the state CDC and the State Department of Health, that we are going to look at it and see what that will present to us for the fall semester and what more we have to discuss. That being said, we do encourage all of our incoming students to complete their health forms. If classes do return back to in-person, or if your student does have an in-person class, they will need to have those health forms completed. And at this point in time, it's best to complete it earlier rather than last minute. If any decisions are made, or whenever we look at the modality of the courses and how those courses are taught. So it is encouraged for students to complete those health forms.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's definitely very important. I see some questions asking about the tuition deadline. Is the tuition payment that is due on August 19th, is that for the fall semester, or is it for the full academic year? Has to say for that one, it's going to be just for the fall semester. Is that correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That one would just be for the fall semester. There are several different options to pay your tuition as well. There is a payment plan that we do have for the institution that you can also sign up for as well. I did see people asking for a link to the health form. So if I think the moderators, if we could find one and put it up in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so there is a question about orientation and when the different orientations will be. Ryan, have you heard any updates about that, or is it still pending?
So orientation, the planning is going on right now for orientation. The anticipation is that currently we are looking at an online orientation that is going to take place this summer. However, like I was mentioning before about the COVID-19 updates, this could change depending on the issue of the state and so forth. So orientation could change. I do encourage you to visit our orientation website, as well as I do encourage you to visit our COVID-19 webpage that is linked on our manoa.hawaii.edu page to see any updates, because as we hear, that is the form that we're going to be updating to let people know what is the status here at the University of Hawaii.
Now, I know a big question, it kind of depends. Of course, with everything with COVID-19, everything is so uncertain. We feel you all. We're the same way. We're like, man, what's going to happen as well? If a student decides that they would like to withdraw or defer, is that an option for them if they would rather feel safer staying at home for that semester or year?
Amber, yeah, the answer to that question is yes. We'll take a look at those requests as they do come in. Please submit that to us. I believe we do have a link on our website about any type of deferments and whatnot. It is something that, though, that at this point in time, it's still a little early to tell as far as what we're going to do for the fall semester, but definitely when we get closer to the semester, if there are certain decisions that need to be made, students can certainly contact our office on those decisions.
Yeah, perfect. And Ryan, would you be talking a bit about the numbers in the state? I know recently the numbers have been going down for us, but do you mind talking just a little bit about how it is currently going in the state of Hawaii?
Well, basically, the ones that I do understand is that, you know, we are one of the lowest states as far as that has the positive cases on a daily basis. And when you look at our overall population, you know, we are one of the top with the total amount of people that live here in Hawaii and the amount that are actually testing positive for COVID-19. So here in the state, we've actually taken certain precautions, and those precautions have been working to create a safer environment for all of us. All of us that live here, all of our visitors that are here as well too. And this is something that we're trying to translate over to the university setting as well for faculty, staff, and students that will be here we want to make sure that it is a safe environment for us all.
Absolutely. Safety is always by far the most important thing. That's really the goal, is to make sure everyone stays safe during this time. So let's see. I have there's been some questions about how students will get their UHID number. But one of you guys mind explaining a little bit how the students get their UHID number and how they accept their admissions to UH?
Sure, I can answer that. So all the UHID numbers are on the bottom of the acceptance letter that your student should have received. So if they just scroll down, there should be like a UHID in their digital accept email. They should be able to access it through there. If they've already set up a MyUH account because a student ID is already needed for that, they can log into their MyUH portal, and then there is a link there for their student ID. But again, they can refer back to their acceptance letter, their first acceptance letter that has that ID number there. Amber, you said there was a second part of that question. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, and how do they accept their admissions to UH once they're ready to make that decision? Is it digitally, or is there other ways?
Sure, yes. If your student is, or your child is already ready to commit to the university, then they can submit their deposit online. So we can include it in the chat where you can put in that deposit.
Okay. And then I know there's been some confusion naturally with logins, because I know we have different logins for different platforms. So I just want to clear up that their login for their UH Manoa account, their UH portal is separate of that of the events portal. So we have a specific events portal for them to go online and register, as you guys all did for today's. And then there's a separate UH portal that's just for students specifically to be able to access their information. Right, so then kind of switching a little bit of gears into a little bit more about financial aid and scholarships. So I know we touched bases on this a little bit earlier, but would one of you guys mind just letting the families know when they should expect to hear about their financial aid packages and also the merit scholarships?
Okay, so for financial aid packages, the good news is that starting on Monday, the award packages for our incoming students are being put together and should be going out to students. We do encourage you to visit your hawaii.edu email, the students hawaii.edu email, because that is where the information on these award packages are going to be going to students. So that is one to take a look at. For scholarships, March 1st, so that's next week, Monday, we're going to start to be sending out more of our scholarship offerings. Those who did receive scholarships, we are going to be sending that out, the notices to those students that did receive a scholarship starting next week, Monday.
Okay. Thanks for explaining a little bit more about that. So definitely keep checking those hawaii.edu emails over the next couple of months. So another great question is there any merit-based scholarships that are automatic? Do you have to apply to them, and have the deadlines already passed?
I can take that if Ryan, you want to chime in if I missed anything. So we do have the Manoa Academic Merit Scholarship that is awarded to students, and actually the students who have been selected for that notification will be coming out in March as well too. There was no separate application for the merit. However, students qualify for the Manoa Academic Merit under two things. They need to have at least a 3.5 GPA to qualify, and needed to have applied by January 5th, have an application in to be considered for it. So we are looking at those applications, and we are going to be sending out the students who are going to be awarded the Manoa Merit, like I said, in March. So unfortunately, the deadline for that has passed. Students would have had applied by January 5th in order to be eligible.
Okay, thank you. And then if students missed the financial aid deadline, are they still able to apply with FAFSA?
Yes, absolutely. Submit your FAFSA.
Yeah, so the deadline was just a priority deadline. So if you still haven't had a chance to fill it out, you still have an opportunity to.
Okay, thank you so much. So kind of going a little bit more into our housing, kind of switching gears into that, is I know there's been a lot of questions about when's the best time to apply for it, when's the last recommended time to go ahead and submit it. So I'll go ahead and take this one. It's with housing right now, the applications are now available for any students who are interested in living on campus. That's going to be for both incoming freshmen as well as transfer students or any upperclassmen students. So definitely be sure to go ahead and check that out online. And the deadline for that is going to be May 1st. It's going to be the same as our recommended student intent to enroll deadline. So definitely make sure to submit it by then. If your student is still not sure if they're going to make Manoa their official new home next year, they still have plenty of time to decide. We completely understand that many of you may be waiting for your financial aid package or decisions on scholarships, or maybe waiting on other admissions decisions from other universities. So we definitely want you to be able to have that time to make your decision. Once you are ready to fully commit, go ahead and submit that intent to enroll, and of course, apply for student housing. Just make sure our recommended date is by May 1st. That is the priority deadline for housing. So there was a great question, kind of a little bit more about kind of rooms and if they're able to like how they choose rooms, if freshmen are guaranteed on-campus housing, how it exactly works. So when the students go on the housing application, you will see different options. It will ask them more detailed information about themselves, of course, confirming their eligibility as, of course, an accepted student. But then it'll kind of go and ask them about a little bit more about their living preferences. For example, if there's a particular hall that they want to partake in, if there is a residential learning community they want to be a part of. We do have different themed floors depending on majors and interests. So they'll be able to specify a little bit more about that. And they won't be able to specify specifically what floor they get or what view they'll have. But I gladly say that we do have some great views, especially, pretty much from all of our housing. You can pretty much get a sunset view, or you can get the Mackay side, the hillside area. So it's Hawaii. I wouldn't be too worried about the students and their housing. Most of our incoming freshman students are going to be placed in our freshman towers for the most part. So just keep that in mind. It's called the Holly Aloha Towers.
I wanted to add on to what Amber was saying about the housing. So there's two things that are needed in order to award housing. I don't know if award is the right word, but students would have to turn in their tuition deposit, which the deadline for that is May 1st, and a housing application as well too to be considered. So the May 1st deadline for both the housing application and the tuition deposit, those go together in being able to start awarding housing for students. So those two things are very important.
Okay, thanks for clarifying, Abby. And another good question that people ask is about parking and vehicles. If a student is in the residence halls and has a vehicle, where do they park?
So parking on campus is a little tricky. So the way that parking passes are issued are based on the student status. So usually continuing students, faculty and staff, they get access to the parking passes first. So we actually don't recommend that incoming freshmen and even new incoming transfer students bring a car over. We are limited in space, limited in parking. So we actually encourage first-time students to take part in our public transportation, like the bus. There's like Biggie Bikes. We're in Honolulu. So our campus is located in Manoa, which is a residential community, which is about 10-15 minutes away from Waikiki. So everything is within a short distance. But in terms of vehicles, we don't really recommend for new students to bring them over because it's difficult to get a parking pass as a new incoming student.
Yeah, and speaking from experience, I'm originally from California before I moved here to Hawaii, and let me tell you, shipping your car is not an easy task. It costed me, just coming from the LA port, was around $1,500 to ship my car. It was pretty old at the time. And then it took almost 6 weeks just coming from California. It was very expensive. It had to go through all these procedures. It was very like complicated. So speaking from experience, it's a lot better to just have a student start off with, especially coming into their first year without a car. We have so many different ways that the students can get around campus as well as off campus. I know I've seen students skateboard, I've seen them rollerblade, I've seen them, regular walk. Just because walking from one end of campus to the other can take about 15 to 20 minutes. It is a bit of a walk, but it's not that bad. We also do have a campus shuttle system as well as a city bus system as well that students can take. And we do have a bike share program as well that is new to the city of Honolulu. It's not sponsored by the university, it is through a separate company. But that is a great option for students who are wanting to rent a bike by the hour or per ride as well. They're wanting to, say go to the beach or go around or even between classes. We have several stops on campus as well. Now, I know families have been asking this, but just to reiterate, Abby, would you mind answering when they should expect move-in date to be for student housing?
So typically move-in is the week before school starts. So the first day of school, I believe, is August. I have to take a look at when the first day is, and I'll work backward from that date.
23rd.
August 23rd. Okay, so Monday, August 23rd is the first day of school. So move-in for housing is usually the week before. And your specific move-in time is going to be based on which hall you're going to be assigned. And typically freshman residence halls are first in the list, and then transfer is later in the week. So you'll get a specific time. And that's actually what we did last year as well too. For those of you that may be familiar, last year we had single occupancy in our residence halls, and we were still practicing, social distancing, and we were, in this like COVID kind of precautions where we are being COVID aware during that. So last year, and it's probably going to be a similar format, is you'll have appointment times during that time period. So the week before, so if we're going to be looking at the calendar, August 23rd. So around, Monday, August 16th to Sunday, August 22nd would be the move-in period. And then again, you would get an appointment time from housing from that. I should also mention, today we're representing the admissions office, and the questions that we're answering for housing, this is just based on our general knowledge. Some of you may have already signed up for the accepted student reception that we are hosting on March 6th. Housing will be there. And so your specific housing questions will be answered by housing staff member. So if we weren't able to answer your question today about housing, or you need more specifics, highly encourage you to sign up if you haven't already to the accepted student reception on March 6th. But yes, to answer that question, when move-in is, it's typically the week before. I did see some questions about families asking where to stay if they're coming in during the move-in period. We generally recommend for families to stay at some of the hotels that are in the Waikiki area. Like I said, it's about 15 minutes away from the campus, and so that's typically what the families do. They'll fly in and book a hotel that is near the campus, and that's a relatively good distance.
And Abby, one of the things that we're also going to provide too is the Moving to Manoa guide. It is something that will come out a little later, probably around, is it May? I think is that the timeline? Around May is when we're going to be sending a Moving to Manoa guide, and that guide will also have some tips as far as what to do in coming down to campus, hotel reservations, next steps, even a little bit about the community that Manoa is in here on the island, and what to expect when you're here.
I do see that on the clock. We're about 1:44 Hawaii Standard Time. There are a lot of questions, and we do want to get to all of your questions. We have about 300 with us today. So we're going to move into a lightning round. Amber, if you don't mind, if you can start reading off the questions, especially most common ones, and we'll try to respond briefly as much as possible for this.
Absolutely. So one thing I forgot to mention is students can have mopeds on campus. Thank you for bringing that up. I had a great question about that. So definitely, if your student's interested in purchasing that, they can definitely do so. They just need a moped parking pass for campus. Switching to a little bit about academic departments, have either one of you heard about when the direct entry nursing decisions for fall 2021 will be announced?
Not yet at this time. It should be sometime in March. That is generally the time frame as when the direct entry nursing students will be notified. This is also the same. I think I saw someone asking a question for our direct entry program into our business school as well. Usually around this March time frame is when we start to get our lists back from the departments with those selectees for those programs. So it should be upcoming within the next month. You know, Amber, I did see another question, and I wanted a couple questions, and they were talking about dual credit enrolled students or students that are already taking courses at a community college. So there is a possibility for your students to be able to get college credit for those courses that they're taking while they're still in high school, at any local community college or university. Basically, what we would need is for the official transcript to be submitted to our office so that we can do a transfer credit evaluation on those courses. Now, with registration for incoming students happening in May, the sooner we can get this information, the better we can start to work on that application to get those evaluations for you so that students can see how those courses fit into their academic plan.
And just kind of to reiterate or reemphasize as well is that right now, all of our academic advisors and our staff, we are all working remotely right now. So right now there are no in-person appointments of anything like that, but we are completely willing to meet with you virtually. It makes it really nice. We can do Zoom. We can also do, certain departments can do phone calls, emails, whatever way is best. Addie, would you mind touching bases on students who are interested in visiting campus and about, as of now, what the plan is with campus tours?
Yes, we did see a lot of questions regarding campus tours and whether or not people can come in person. Currently, right now, the campus is closed to the public. And so our in-person tours have also been suspended at this time as well too, because the campus is closed. We do have some alternative options, virtual campus tours. We are participating in the NACAC College Fair this coming weekend on Sunday, and we will have a virtual campus tour there, and also at all of our virtual accepted student receptions, including the one on March 6th, that will also offer a virtual campus tour as well. As some of you may be following, the news, the status of the campus and whether or not we would be opening up even to the public to look around, that can change as we get information coming in. But the best option right now is to attend our virtual campus tours that we're offering through our events since the campus is closed.
Perfect. Thanks, Abby. Appreciate it. Also, if moderators, if somebody would be able to post the link for making an appointment with your academic advisors in the chat. So families, if you want to go ahead and make an appointment with your academic advisor virtually, be sure to go ahead and check that link into the chat. Now switching over into a little bit about student services is if a student has or requires some kind of special accommodations, who would be the best person or department to contact?
Best department to contact is Kokua, that's spelled K-O-K-U-A, and they can assist in, if your child needs special assistance with anything with their classes or anything like that, they are the right office to communicate with. Again, that's Kokua. And moderators, if you can put that in the chat as well too, to give that link out to those who have questions regarding that.
Perfect, thank you. Also, I know we've had some questions about veteran benefits or just VA benefits in general. For moderators, if we can go ahead and put the VA email into the chat as well. So if they have questions, they can go ahead and contact that department directly as well.
Yeah. And our
Now,
Veterans Affairs, it sits in our registrar's office. So you'll see that as part of the link as well too.
okay. And with our Career Center, what kind of services do we offer our students, like with internship opportunities and career counseling?
So our Student Employment and Career, our Manoa Career Center, it actually helps students with lots of different things. One, it can help students find jobs on campus. They can also assist them with finding internships. They can help with career planning as well too. So if students don't know what to do, like let's say within their major, what can I do with this major? What kind of jobs and opportunities are available? They can help with that kind of counseling as well too. So Manoa Career Center, that is what the service is called, the student service, and they can, again, help with student employment, help with internships. They can also help students prepare, like when they're about to graduate or they're preparing to look for employment, because they host career fairs as well too. Even in this virtual landscape, they have offered that to students as well. So Manoa Career Center.
Perfect, thanks. So kind of touching more a bit about student life, we know, of course, student life has not been quite the same. It's a little different this year, but it definitely still does exist. Abby, would you mind touching base about our different student clubs and different ways for students to get involved?
Yeah, so our student clubs still exist. Our clubs on campus are called registered independent organizations. So a little bit fancier than clubs. But within like this past year, the clubs have still been functioning, but again, on a virtual landscape. So a lot of meeting through there. Through, like orientation, that's probably the best way to kind of get in contact with some of these clubs. Also taking a look at our registered independent organization website to see what kind of clubs are available and to link students there. But they're definitely active. They're just different in the way that they host activities.
Yeah, perfect, thanks. And then some other questions, I'm not sure if either of you guys know, but I know there's been a few questions asking about athletics and if they do walk-ons or tryouts or how they are recruiting for this year, or what's the best way for our families to get in touch with the coaches?
For that one, for athletics, the best is to contact the coaches specifically in the sport that you want to have your child play in. That's going to be definite the start.
And a big question I keep seeing pop up as well, kind of switching a little bit more into about COVID, is if the student does get classes that do happen to be all online, are they required to technically still be in person or like attending here in Hawaii, or can they attend classes remotely?
Technically, they can attend classes remotely. As what we saw this past year for the fall 2020, there were students who did register for only online courses. And for those students who did register for only online courses, some of them were here on Oahu, some of them stayed with us on campus, but there were also some that stayed at home to be able to take the courses in person, and then look to come to us for future in the spring semester if there were in-person classes and so forth. But it is possible to sign up for all online courses only and take that and remain at home. Again, we are still trying to look at the modality of all of those courses, and that's changing very quickly and rapidly, and we'll try to update you folks as soon as we hear those changes.
Perfect. And I have a couple questions for those students who are coming from the continental US to here in Hawaii, kind of about that getting assimilated to campus, as well as especially staying on campus during breaks. So families are wondering if the university housing will stay open during Thanksgiving breaks and other holidays for students.
Yes, they do. And I do know, Amber, I've heard that comes out of student housing, they do work on some activities for the students that are there as well. Again, it's not as large activities like what we may have seen in the past couple of years, but when we were in person. But this past year, there were some in-person events that housing has been creative encourage and incorporate the students to get to know each other and to participate on campus.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Some other things to think about that I know that people have been asking about with students coming from the continental US, how is it for them to acclimate to here? I would say, speaking from experience, UH is one of the most absolute friendly campuses I've ever been on personally. Everyone is one of those where you walk around and people smile and wave at you and you're like, hi, are you waving to me? They're very friendly. So definitely, I think I always joke about the golden rule is if you're nice to others, they will also treat you with the same respect as well. I've definitely made some lifelong friends here on the island, as our students always tend to as well. This really truly does become their second home and their second family, where at first some students will be like, yes, I want to go home during Thanksgiving break. I'm homesick. And then spring break comes around. I ask the students, hey, are you going home for spring break? And they're like, no, I think I'm gonna go island hopping or, hang out with my friends here locally. So definitely families, if you're worried about the homesickness and making friends and getting acclimated, getting adjusted to life here, it's definitely very easy for our students. Just tell them to bring an umbrella. We do have 3-minute rainstorms. So that's the biggest thing is tell them to bring one small umbrella they can always stick in their backpack. The biggest mistake I've seen by freshmen. So there's I see a couple other questions, just reiterating that all of our events are virtual right now, so definitely do not worry about that as far as you do not need to be in person for that. We actually we really enjoy having them all online. It allows people from all time zones and all areas to be able to join together and to meet students from all over. So definitely be sure to attend those online. And let's see, a few others questions. We have quite a few others. For moderators, could we get assistance in posting the information of how students can get dorm supplies and necessities? We do have a Target in the area, a Walmart, a Costco, a Sam's Club. Everything that you guys have on the mainland, for the most part, we do offer here as well for shopping. And we do offer a linen program as well for students. So if you want to have the students reserve their linens ahead of time and have them delivered to the residence halls, they were saying it delivers usually the Thursday or Friday before. That is an option as well. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat in here in just a moment. I see a fun question is, a swimming pool. Do we have a swimming pool on campus, and is it indoor or outdoor?
We do have an outdoor swimming pool available.
Yes, and then also I know even with COVID, has the gym, our new Warrior Recreation Center, has that been available on campus for students?
Yes,
Yes.
The Warrior Recreation Center is open for students. They do a really good job in cleaning that really well, like after each use. And then I think they close for a certain amount of time as well to do some deep cleaning, but it is open and available for the students.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do either of you know, with at least for this current year, has the residence hall, like the dining halls, have they been open? Have they been doing more to-go meals, or what has been the plan of action that they've done so far this year?
I did hear that they were open this past year. And generally with the dining halls, they were more of a buffet style. But I think that was changed a little and tweaked due to the COVID social distancing and the rules and whatnot. The students still could eat as much as like a buffet style, but they were served portions on a plate that could be taken away as they came up for the food that they wanted. So it was a little tweaked as far as our normal buffet style, but it was something that they were open for students.
Okay, well, this is going to go ahead and conclude our Q&A for today, but just kind of as a couple last reminders is that you definitely, if you do not have your question answered yet today, please do not worry. Please feel free to contact us. We have several different ways you can contact us. We'll be happy to answer your questions, as well as our financial aid department, academic advising, and student housing. We will be sending a survey after this, so definitely be sure to go ahead, give us some feedback. We want to know what you think and how we can improve on it for the future. Definitely be sure to attend any of our upcoming events. And just kind of as a last minute note, just to end on a positive note, Abby and Brian, do you mind describing what your favorite thing about Manoa is?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to put in just one thing. I didn't mention it. Ryan said in his intro, like his background with Manoa, but I have been with Manoa ever since I started college. It started off with actually visiting the campus and I fell in love. And I think it really is just, it's very a different experience. It's very diverse and I continue to learn something every day from the university, even through my 12 years of being a professional and then also being a graduate and undergraduate student at UH.
Wonderful. Thanks, Abby.
Definitely one thing to take away. I'm a local boy. I was raised in Palolo Valley, close the valley next to where Manoa campus is, and I just, the one takeaway is I can't explain how much this campus has meant to my experiences, my life, setting it up for what I needed to do in the future to be able to be where I am now. And I'm just so proud of the campus to be able to and share this with you folks. And looking at the next class of individuals coming in, I'm going to be future proud graduates of the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And I love to be at that start of that career, that college career. And it just makes me so excited to see all of these new students coming in and so forth.
I was gonna say, I could not agree more. It's really coming from out of state. It's really such a really unique and special community that we do have here at Manoa, despite even the past year with COVID going on, which nobody could have predicted, you know, a year ago. It has still been one of the most incredible places to live and still see the community come so alive, both on campus and the island. So I definitely tell all students, definitely come join us, be a part of this community. And we always say, as we do, always say the hashtag take me to Manoa. So I want to say thank you all so much for joining us here today. We hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys at the next virtual event. Aloha.
Yes, sign up for the accepted student reception on March 6th.
Thank you all.
Thank you.